Welcome back to Build the Weight Loss Practice of Your Dreams. I'm your host, Carol Clark, and we are talking all this month about additional revenue streams. Profitable revenue streams is the goal here, and we're talking all about, is it the right time? We covered that last week. Today we're going to talk about some options that have proven to be successful, particularly in medical and surgical weight loss practices. And then we're going to talk about how to implement a new revenue stream, how to regenerate a revenue stream that perhaps you currently have that sort of fizzled out or never got off the ground in the first place, and then tie it all together. So it's an exciting time. And I wanted to make sure that we were thorough in terms of covering this. I go deeper in Bariatric Business Boss. If you remember, we meet one-on-one. The details are a little bit more specific in there. However, let's get to what you want to know for additional revenue streams. So this is something that, when implemented properly, can be really advantageous for the physician and for the practice. It can help even out revenue, particularly in these unpredictable times, especially in healthcare. It can also provide some stability if the physician is off for a period of time, on vacation, away for a long weekend. Things are just continue to roll along and revenue continues to come into your account. So it's something that can be very beneficial. A long time ago, I've been managing physician practices for over 20 years. This was sort of unheard of. We all just focused on our main thing. Anything in addition to that just seemed like it was a distraction or really just a bit uncomfortable. But nowadays, in almost every specialty, it's very common. You know, ENTs have allergy, orthopedics offers physical therapy. They also have durable medical equipment. They have other services that they provide, massage, that sort of thing. Aesthetics, plastic surgeons have so many additional revenue streams. And it's something, like I say, that is very commonplace. So in weight loss, it is as well. And it's almost expected anymore from your patients. So we talked last week about opportunity and knowing whether or not it's the right time to add a revenue stream into your practice. Of course, it needs to be something that complements your main thing. Your main thing that you're offering has to be very streamlined, very efficient, whether it's medical weight loss or weight loss surgery, and that's your main thing. But then it's a matter of listening to your patients. What else is it that they want? And being able to efficiently and effectively provide that in a good business model. So for weight loss practices, you can decide you're going to add a revenue stream, but it does take time and effort, which we're going to be covering implementation over the next couple of weeks. But it is something, like I said, that can help smooth out revenue. It can also just be very beneficial for your patients. That's what's the main focus here. And then also it has to be something that's enjoyable for you and your team. Because what I'm going to mention, a number of them might not be right for you. Your patients may have no desire for that. They are not seeking it somewhere else. It can be a little bit geographically based. So those are some of the things that you want to take into consideration. So once your main thing is working really well, there are some additional revenue streams that are going to be more profitable than others potentially, but they all depend on your effort, setting up a system for it, making sure that you're not overstaffing for it, and then of course making sure that you let people know about the service that you're offering. So marketing plays into it. That whole circle of life that I talk about in membership, and oftentimes any articles that I write, a lot of presentations, it's all about attracting the right patient, building a relationship with them, converting them to a sale, providing outstanding service, getting them the outcome that they want, encouraging them to share their testimonial and refer other patients, and then starting that whole cycle over again. We're always in the middle of that cycle. So if you ever launch something, we're going to get into this, and it doesn't work, there's usually a couple different reasons why. So we'll cover that next week. But for this week, what are some of those best revenue streams that you may want to add? For some physicians, it has to be, like I say, something that you're comfortable with. Some of the more common things that can create some profit, but not necessarily something you can hang your hat on, or sometimes lipo-B injections, appetite suppressants, especially if you're prescribing them and dispensing them in your practice. That does involve some other outside board of pharmacy reviews generally, and some investment there, and some streamlining of the systems for reporting and all that sort of thing. But it's something that can bring in some additional revenue to cover some expenses. That can be helpful. Aesthetics is a big one for weight loss. So aesthetics could be anything from, massage in your practice to some sort of other weight loss, skin tightening. It could be anything like that. I know in our practice, a something that's been really well accepted, something that is utilized for skin tightening, for fat loss, and also for pain, joint pain in particular, and relieving that is basically some red light infrared therapy. I have done podcasts before. I have done my due diligence. I actually use a company called UltraSlim. If you want more information on that, reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect you with one of the most awesome reps that they have there, and they can go through everything with no pressure. So that's another great revenue stream that complements weight loss and skin tightening, particularly as people are losing weight, and it just provides them with that added boost so they feel great in their clothes. So that's an additional revenue stream that can be extremely profitable for your practice, helpful for your patients, and enjoyable for your team. Another one that is extremely profitable, I talk about this all the time when done right, is nutritional retail sales. So the vitamins and nutritional supplements that people are utilizing during weight loss are something that, if it's specifically something prescribed in your office, something that they can only get through physicians, something that's unique, tastes really good. There's so many caveats to that. If you look back in previous trainings, I have so much information on that. If you can't find them, reach out to me and I'd be happy to send you links. But adding retail revenue stream is something that is really helpful for your practice, helpful for your patients, easy to implement. You can do just on-site sales. You can add online sales. You can add online sales where they can also pick it up in the practice. That's what I find patients love. But it creates a need for them to come back to your office. It gives them high quality protein that they know is good for them versus whatever they're getting elsewhere that can oftentimes and usually is substandard. So nutritional retail sales is another big revenue stream. Probably those are my top two: the aesthetics and the therapy, which goes into aesthetics, and then as well nutritional retail sales. Some other things that you can add in, a very profitable revenue stream, and also goes along with anti-aging and just feeling your best, which everyone wants as they go through weight loss, is bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I have specific recommendations for that. This is something we added, 7 years ago or so. Our patients love it, and it is a great thing, can mesh very well into your practice and also be very helpful for your patients, most of all enjoyable for your team and profitable for you. So that's another really big one that you may find. You can also integrate online weight loss programs. These things sell themselves while 24/7, 365. So some online weight loss programs is another thing that you can offer that can be very helpful, profitable. You set it up and then you just drive sales to it, and it's something that you can then upsell with one-on-one counseling, all that sort of thing. That's another thing that you can add. Some people add a Concierge Lab in their practice. This is not necessarily a great revenue stream, but it's a great service for your patients, and you can you can set that up in a variety of ways. We can talk about that if you want to. So that's another thing that oftentimes people will do. Also, there is a number of things with regards to additional services such as fitness. Now, fitness is one of those things that, in my experience, is kind of difficult to actually have a profit from. It's a great service to offer. It's the right thing to do for our patients, but it is a little bit tricky in terms of profitability for that. A lot of times you just break even, which is a good thing too. So you want to make sure that you monitor that. That's another revenue stream that is sometimes added in. And you can also add in some smaller products that are online that have a smaller cost to them. There's a lot on funnel building that I'm not covering today, but basically having these various revenue streams can be very profitable for you and helpful. Another thing, particularly for bariatric surgeons and some medical weight loss physicians, is having their own being a part of an ASC, the Ambulatory Surgery Center, or having their own MSO and having basically a conglomerate for overseeing their practice in terms of billing, collections, team building, staffing, all that sort of thing. So that's another methodology that physicians are using. I see particularly with surgeons. Those two things can be additional revenue streams, particularly for the surgeon, and also of assistance for the practice. Those are some other things that you can add. So I've gone through a lot of them. There's actually more, but I don't want to go on too long. The key is picking out what's going to blend well with your practice that's really going to serve your patients, so that there's a desire out there for it. Setting up a system to make it happen efficiently, having someone have ownership for it, and we're going to get into a lot of that next week. So I covered that quickly, but those are a few revenue streams. If you ever want to talk about some of those further, reach out to me, Carol, Karol, at Weight Loss Practice Builder. Anyone who's in Bariatric Business Boss membership or one of my private consultations or programs, working one-on-one together in a much larger way or utilizing my blueprints gets a deep dive into this as well. So anyhow, check that out, bariatricbusinessboss.com if you're interested. And I hope this served you well. I will talk to you next week all about continuing our additional revenue streams for your practice. In the meantime, take care and continue improving the health of your community.